You are now watching the Ball and Beats podcast.
And welcome everybody to episode 107 of the Ball and Beats podcast. I am back from Florida. How are you two gentlemen doing?
We're doing fantastic. How was Margaritaville, by the way?
Oh man, I gotta say, not good food.
Not good
Margaritaville does not have good food. I had it was like Caribbean jerk chicken down there, and it wasn't good. I don't know what it was. I don't know if I just didn't like and don't
you go there for the time.
I only put salt and pepper on stuff. I actually like spicy.
He only
stuff.
put salt and pepper on it? That makes perfect sense.
It didn't have good flavor, and it just wasn't very good chicken. But then again, you don't go to Margaritaville to eat. You go there to get wasted. I wasn't because it was a few days.
And you also
before
get to
my
listen to
21st.
the music.
Yeah, Jimmy
atmosphere.
Buffett on replay.
Hold on,
Yeah.
hold on.
2 hours.
Don't let him fool you. He could be deceiving you guys at home about how that trip really went. It was really fun, though, I know.
It was
Anyway,
very fun.
We have Aaron to my right, Spencer to my left, and we have Alan joining us from Zoom as well. Alan, how are you doing today, sir?
Alan.
I'm good. It's a little hot, though, I will say.
It is,
Yeah.
guys, it is 100 degrees practically outside right now here in Ohio.
about
We
95
are
Hi, man.
we are in Ohio, and it is so hot here over summer. It's not even July yet.
Yeah.
Grass is frying right now.
Grass is frying.
Grass, man, I feel like I've been frying. like,
We've been frying
It's
here for the
rough.
past week, and we're just going to keep getting hotter here in the state of Ohio. So sad. But let's get into our first segment of the day. Let's talk about the Stanley Cup Finals, shall we? How about Edmonton? Down 3-0.
America's team.
They
from
have now
Canada.
made it a series here. 3-2. Game 6 coming up on Friday, as this episode will be out on Saturday. What has changed? What has changed?
The momentum completely. I think that, and Edmonton really got some solid goaltending from Stuart Skinner. The problem was Sergei Bobrovsky was playing like Dominic Hasek in the early 2000s. He couldn't let anything in. It was a shutout, then one goal, and then they went to Edmonton and won Game 3. And Bobrovsky had like a .945 save percentage for 3 games. He then let up 6 goals the next game. And then he let up 5 goals in Game 5. So he's kind of, he's came back down to earth. And I think that's a big thing, that Florida has a really good offense, but they rely a lot on Sergei Bobrovsky. And I think it's the opposite of Edmonton. Edmonton has so-so goaltending, and they have an elite offense. If you shut down the offense, you shut down Edmonton. Same thing for Florida. If you can get past Sergei Bobrovsky, you're going to win that game. And I think that's the biggest momentum shifter. Edmonton has gotten better shots. They've looked like the more dominant teams, especially Game 4. They won 8-1, which is just crazy. And now the series shifts back to Alberta. And I don't know, guys. It's been a long time since we've seen a team come back from down 3-0. I think it was
We actually looked it up. The last time it happened at all was
Boston, Philly.
Nope, it was the L.A. Kings
LA
in
Kings,
2014 first round.
against San Jose.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, that's right. And they went on to Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah. No, I'm still I still believe in Edmonton. I'm cheering for Edmonton. I don't like Florida because I don't like the Atlantic Division teams because they just, it's like the last time a non-Atlantic Division team made the Stanley Cup Final was 2018.
yeah.
It seems like everything runs through Florida right now, but yeah, I firmly believe Edmonton will win Game 6.
Yeah. Well, it's run through Florida the last 5 years.
Yep.
It's been Tampa Bay or Florida for the Eastern Conference in the last 5 years to represent the Eastern Conference. Alan, what are your thoughts here on the Stanley Cup?
So, obviously, in one of our previous episodes, I had the Panthers winning, and it's not looking like it. Again, this offense of Edmonton, when they get going, they get going. And, oh, my goodness, I mean, an 8-1 victory, like, I wasn't even expecting that. So it's just these momentum swings, and I think playing in Edmonton has something to do with that as well. I mean, if you get those fans behind you, it's crazy. So it's just, I might want to change my prediction to Edmonton winning.
Yeah, I don't know. I know I just said I think Florida wins in 7. I just still have a feeling Florida's going to win the series. They're up. They're still up by all they have to do is win 1 game. Edmonton
Right.
has to win 2. They still have the series advantage. Momentum is momentum is one of the biggest things in hockey. And it's the big, in terms of momentum, because anything can shift on a dime. It's different for basketball. It's different for baseball. Hockey's different, especially when you're this deep and we're into late June and we still have hockey, which I love. But this has been a hell of a series so far. I mean, back and forth games. Game 5 was entertaining. Yeah. Game 4 was a blowout. And I think my favorite tradition in hockey is all those fans singing "O Canada" before the games for Edmonton. That will like get your adrenaline rushing as a player, because it's awesome, I think.
Yeah. So to me, this whole series changed when Edmonton won Game 4, 8-1.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like winning Game 4, I'm like, okay, I'm not shocked they won Game 4, because I mean, look, you're down 3 games to nothing.
You're gonna give
obviously you're gonna give it your all, but the fact that it was just pure domination. I mean, there was never a chance Florida. I mean, it didn't even look like Florida even was on the ice at one point.
Bobrovsky looked like a completely different
Oh my
player.
gosh! Compared to his first few games, Game 1 he looked like he could have just won an MVP of a series in Game 1.
Yeah, he was on the.
He was
on the verge of the Conn Smythe.
Yeah, he was saving everything in Game 1. Game 2, he just gave up that weird, just between the legs goal. And then Game 3, he still had like a decent game. And then Game 4, it all switched with Edmonton's offense. It's that good. It also just seems like they're so much faster than Florida too, like on the ice.
Yeah.
Like they just feel faster. They're playing faster. They're playing more loose. It's just Florida. I picked them before like the Stanley Cup ever started, so I was like, I'm still gonna go with that pick. I'm not gonna go off it yet. Half it's because I believe that Game 7 in Florida is probably gonna help. Mm-hmm. But man, oh man, Edmonton fans also travel too, because there's quite a bit of Edmonton fans.
What, a 2,500 mile distance?
Yeah. Yes,
it's the biggest.
It's the biggest
well, it's also an
gap.
underrated
Like
fan base.
mileage, you have to travel.
It's an underrated fan base because there's probably a lot of people who like Edmonton from America because of Wayne Gretzky as well. So there's probably a big Americanized fan base for the Oilers as well, simply because the best hockey player of all time.
Edmonton's just a fun team to watch, and people are going to want to watch fun teams and fun players. They have an explosive offense.
Yeah.
So,
I want to talk about, say we hypothetically do get to Game 7. I believe that game will be on Monday next week. Mm-hmm. Who really does have the upper hand at that point? Because you have 2 teams who went on 3-game winning streaks. Obviously it'd be Edmonton going on 3 in a row going in, but the game is in Florida. If that were the case, which team would have the upper hand going into Game 7 with the mindset and everything and the momentum?
For me, it all depends on what happens in Game 6. This could all end tomorrow, and when this episode comes out, Florida could have won the Stanley Cup already. Yeah. We don't know that. But man, momentum's such huge, and Edmonton winning 3 straight games after being down 3-0. The best player on the ice plays for the Oilers and Connor McDavid. The second best player, you could say Leon Draisaitl, or you could say Matthew Tkachuk, one of the two. And what a play from Tkachuk the other day from getting that goal away. It didn't matter because McDavid just shot it in the net the next play, but sprawl out play, what a play. I gotta go. Just because it's in Florida, I'll have to go the Panthers, because home ice advantage is a huge, huge thing. In Florida, they have a heck of a fan base. And 10 years ago, this team was almost relocating because no one was going to Fort Lauderdale for hockey, and they were a terrible team. And then they drafted Barkov. They drafted Ekblad. They signed Bobrovsky in like 2018, I believe. Made the Matthew Tkachuk trade, and now they have been to back-to-back Stanley Cups, on the verge of winning their first ever. So I will have to give the momentum to Florida in Game 7, but for Game 6, it's got to be Edmonton. Home ice, 2 straight wins. You got Connor McDavid, who needs, which is great, 6 more points to tie the all-time playoff record for points with Wayne Gretzky, who also played for the Oilers. He's got 41, Gretzky had 47. And I got to give it to Edmonton for Game 6. I'll give it to Florida for Game 7.
Aaron.
So, I'm just going to go pure hypothetical. We'll go Game 7. I think the upper hand would actually be Edmonton in Game 7. I know Florida's going to have home ice, but I don't know. If there's just something with me in comebacks in sports where when you come back down 3-0 and you tie the series, now the mindset's like, okay, you're still on the same mindset of one game at a time. It's never changed.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, they're going to have the best player on on the ice. I believe in this series so far, I believe they've had the best couple players on the ice so far. Like, I mean, Kachuk, I don't think he's been.
He hasn't been great in the finals. And
he really hasn't. But that play he made, and you mentioned Game 5, I do got to give that credit because it meant he didn't quit. That's one thing. Like Game 4, that looked like, okay, they didn't try. Game 5, though.
Game 4 was like they laid back. They know we already have.
They wanted to go back to Florida.
In Game 5, he was like, no, I'm going to put everything on the line for an empty netter save. I mean, and that's their best player that's also doing it.
Yeah.
So that's something you like to see. But like I said, I think Florida will pull it out in 7, but man, momentum is just going to be really big on Edmonton's side for that game.
And hypothetically, Edmonton wins the Stanley Cup, Florida loses back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. You got to sign a ton of players in the offseason. This might be Florida's last chance. They still have a lot of good players, but you're going to have Anton Lundell, who's going to be an RFA. You're going to have Carter Verhaeghe, who's going to go somewhere, probably make $6 million a year. Mm-hmm. They're losing a lot of their key second and third liners. They're not losing their first line, Barkov, Kachuk, Rodriguez. They're not losing that. But they are losing their second and third line players, which if you have whoever has the best second line will probably win the series. And right now, Edmonton's second line has been playing better than Florida's.
Yeah. And just for the record, for all you basketball fans out there, $6 million a year for a hockey player is actually pretty decent contract size. So.
Any sport,
I'm just saying for now,
football,
for today,
football,
still hockey. That's a pretty decent contract for a hockey player anymore. I personally think the momentum would probably still be with Florida, simply because I feel like regardless, trying to come back from a 3-0 deficit, the fact that you already got there is already enough. Yeah. But then the pressure of still just one more, I feel like the momentum would still be on Florida because they're not. It's weird because it's like it's like both sides.
Yeah, you can see both sides, and I think that's why Game 6 is going to be so interesting.
Because Florida, it's like, okay, if we lose this, we choked away.
It's the biggest choke job in all of sports.
And then if, Edmonton, it's like, man, we really got back in the series for nothing.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like if that's what it would be.
If you get to Game 7 after being down 3-0, you're going to, both teams have different mindsets. Edmonton, they have nothing to lose, all to win right now. They're playing with house money. They're down in the series. If they get it, they're like, okay, we're here. We might as well go win the whole thing.
Right.
And Florida, losing last year, coming back, it's hard to go to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. Just ask Boston, the Bruins for teams. They can't win the finals. It's hard to do that. And Florida, there's not a bigger choke job than losing when you're up 3-0. I don't think in any sport.
No. Yeah. So, the Heat almost did it to the Celtics last year, but that's okay. It didn't happen.
Yeah, you were after Game 6.
Don't.
You heard some choice words from Logan.
So don't bring me back to those days. But hey, Game 7, Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin Game 7 will always be remembered in my brain for maybe the best.
How'd they do in the finals? I forgot.
We don't need to talk
Pistons.
about that. We don't need to talk about that. We're still talking hockey here right now. But I still think Florida's got it in the bag. I think Florida will still win the series. I do think it goes to Game 7. I do think Game 7 will happen. I do think Edmonton wins on Friday night. It's going to be the series really has had a turn because we thought we were about to see 2 sweeps.
I thought Florida was going to win in 5. I thought Game 4 was okay. You throw one away, you go back home, you take care of business in front of your home fans, and then Edmonton played a fantastic first period and never let up in Game 5, and then it's like, oh, okay, we're going back to Alberta. So
I think we will go to Game 7 for sure. However, I do think Florida will win in 7. But man, what turned out to be a really good series regardless, and we thought it was going to be a sweep almost.
Yeah.
We had talks on the last episode that it was going to be a sweep. We didn't end up getting that, which has been fantastic. Great series, and made the better team win.
Yeah.
Made the better team win.
Stanley Cup Finals.
Alan, what's your final thoughts before we move on?
I do want to say that I would give the edge to Florida if it goes to 7 because I am a big person. I love a good momentum swing. The only problem is they're going to be at home. And 9 times out of 10, if you're in Game 7 at home, you're probably not losing. So I'd give the slight edge to Florida.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up our Stanley Cup talk here on episode 107 of the Ball and Beats podcast. When we come back, we'll discuss legacies of Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and all that and more
We did
with the NBA Finals. Don't go anywhere. You are watching the Ball and Beats podcast. And welcome back here to episode 107 of the Ball and Beats podcast, as I am joined here with Aaron, Spencer, and Alan with us via Zoom. And we need to talk about this NBA Finals, as it's finally wrapped up here. Boston Celtics, congratulations. Championship number 18, now all-time leading franchise in NBA Finals, no longer tied with the LA Lakers. So they beat the Dallas Mavericks in 5 games pretty convincingly. Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, all those guys, the duo that would never do it, as I would like to say. You did it. Congratulations, Congrats, City of Boston. I hate you guys with a passion still. It does not matter. I hope you guys do come here still with your pitchforks and your torches. I want you guys here, please.
Who wants to discuss his differences?
I want to discuss my differences with the City of
celebrating
Boston.
Banner 18. I don't think they'll care.
Dave Portnoy, get us on Barstool Sports so that way I could talk about my hatred for all your teams. But regardless,
I swear,
of that,
it's like he's like your mortal enemy.
Dave-
He likes Michigan and he likes every Boston team.
that is genuinely my mortal enemy. I am enemy. Wow, I cannot speak English. But guys, what does this do for Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown specifically? Before we get into any other talks about any other players,
I'll say it's more for Jaylen Brown than Jayson Tatum. Mr. Mickey Mouse didn't have a great finals, but he won the championship.
he did decent. Let's be honest.
No,
Jayson,
it was
Jayson Tatum actually did play fairly decent.
Yeah. Jayson Tatum had a good finals, and he was really cringy in the post game. But you win the finals, you can do what you want, you can say what you want. Anything is possible, as Kevin Garnett said.
He tried it with the
16 years ago. He tried to reenact it. No. But no, I think that this proves that Boston had the best team in the NBA, and I think people just doubted them. Because they're the Celtics, we just thought that Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they couldn't get it done, and now they have. And you can say they didn't play anybody higher than a 4 seed the entire tournament, but they played who they played, and they won the games when they needed to. They only lost 3 games the entire playoffs, and congrats to the Celtics. Jayson Tatum has always been a really good player. He just hasn't had that clutch gene, and he proved that he can make some clutch shots. I think Jaylen Brown had a better finals, and I think it was more Jaylen Brown's, doing of them winning the finals because he ended up winning MVP. But they had Chris Stapps, Drew Holiday, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. They just had a really solid overall team, and in the end, that's why they won. They had the best balanced team in the NBA. They won 64 games for a reason.
And I feel like everyone. Really, at the start of the season, everyone kind of felt like the Celtics on paper were probably the best team. Yeah. Everyone kind of had the Celtics as the favorite out of the East, and really the favorites from the beginning of this season. It just needed to finally be shown on the court. And Boston, they went out and they did it. And got to tip the cap to, the Celtics. It's sad. But that's okay, though. Jaylen Brown did deserve Finals MVP, in my opinion.
Yes.
We'll talk more about that a little bit. But I want to get the rest of the thoughts as well from Aaron and Alan as well.
So I actually have a lot of thoughts about these finals. I actually have a lot, but I'm gonna start with the duo. I think them as a duo right now, it sounds crazy, but they might just be the best 1-2 duo in the NBA. Jamal Murray and Jokic to me would be second.
Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo? No, I'm just kidding.
No,
That's
no.
I know.
Luka
I know.
and Kyrie.
No.
I
Might
love
be
Kyrie.
okay.
Don't get me wrong. Luka takes way too many shots.
Yeah.
Kyrie, he got the Boston. Boston's was like, I'm not letting Kyrie do anything.
I don't get it. It's like Kyrie
couldn't
whenever
do
he
anything
plays
in Boston,
the Celtics,
but played really good in Dallas.
he just can't play.
No.
He can't play in Boston.
I think it's because they know how to defend. I mean, look at the two guards.
They get in his head.
Yeah.
Well,
They
also
get in
look
his
at the two
head
guards
so
they have
much.
defending them.
I'd
They
say
have two second-team All-NBA defenders,
Yeah.
and Drew Holiday and Derek
And the
White.
thing is, I will say this: when you're talking about Luka and Kyrie, that's the most offensively talented
Yes.
duo
Yes.
in the NBA.
It is.
It is not necessarily the best. That's the issue with the Mavericks, but more still on what you
And
got.
that's why I put them two, is because both Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they play defense. One thing I gotta say with Jayson Tatum right now is I think he might be the first. I think he is the first person to win a finals and lead his team in points, rebounds, and assists, and not win Finals MVP. Yeah. The only reason why he didn't win it was because he didn't shoot a high enough. He didn't shoot it as efficient as Jaylen Brown did, which is weird because usually throughout most of their careers, it was Jayson Tatum was the efficient one, and Jaylen Brown was the more I'm just gonna shoot a bunch.
Yeah.
Which is why everyone kind of gave Jayson Tatum like, hey, he's the best player. Them guys are just both number ones on that team. They're both. I'm pretty sure Jayson Tatum's about to get his $315 million extension.
Yep.
I mean, them two are about to get paid over $600 million combined.
Celtics are not going to have a lot of money left.
They're paying it on like 7 players, but it's literally like some of the best like just role players in the league. I mean,
But the thing
I
is,
can
I
go
also
on and
feel
on
like-
for all the role players that they have.
I do feel like that's partially just how they've set up systematically, though,
yes,
too.
they
Sometimes-
also destroyed Brooklyn in those
Yeah.
trades to get those 2 players.
Exactly.
Yeah, shout out Billy King.
Like those
If
were
the
not their
Brooklyn
draft
Nets, if
picks.
the Brooklyn Nets didn't make that crazy trade for Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce,
Yeah.
and whoever the hell, Ray Allen or whoever I don't remember who
It
else was in
was
that trade.
Paul Pierce,
Off the top of my head.
Kevin Garnett, Daniel Williams was a different team.
Yeah, he was Utah. Congrats, Brooklyn Nets, for making this all possible today.
yeah.
Shout out Andrew Hoffman. You'll be on the podcast a little
They-
more in the fall, but
They
your Brooklyn
the
Nets
Celtics
did it.
made the conference finals, lost to the Cavs, and then had the number 1 pick, and then traded back to 3 with
Yeah.
Philly to get Jayson Tatum.
It's actually crazy if you look at those drafts.
Like Danny Ainge was finessing everybody,
He was.
building
He
that
got
team,
the best
and then
players.
Brad Stevens just said, "Okay, watch me. I'm gonna go grab. I'm gonna go get Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis." That just took
Who
them,
are very good when they're healthy.
they took them over the top this year, I believe.
Yeah.
And you saw it in game 1 of Kristaps.
Real quickly, Alan, your final thoughts as well on the NBA Finals.
I do want to say I am happy for Jayson Tatum for finally getting that ring. I believe he's a very underrated player. Every time when we talk about MVP candidates, the scoring leaders, he's always up there in like that top 5, top 10 usually, but they never put him at number 1. So as far as legacy goes, I do think that this adds to it, and
Really,
I do think that it is deserved.
Yeah, it's
So
deserved.
go
Really,
Boston.
really,
But next year the Thunder are winning.
yeah. Really, I think it actually just created a legacy for Jayson Tatum. I mean, I didn't think he really had one. It started his
started
legacy.
one.
What he can create.
It started what he
Yes.
could create.
And also the fact that he's only 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
still-
Jaylen
he's
Brown
still
is
young.
27. Like they are two. Like they're like
They're still relatively young players.
Yeah.
Like they're not old.
I love seeing the stat after the game. It's like it's so crazy, but it's true. You know those crazy like stats you see all the time. It was Jayson Tatum compared to like other superstars and legacy guys like, when they won their first ring. He was like the youngest one out of all of them.
Yeah.
Because he
I
was
believe it.
26. LeBron, I'm pretty sure, was like 27, 28. Michael Jordan was 27. Like, they were all like 27, 28. And Jayson Tatum did 26. So, but I think he's starting his, not he already had one. Because
Yeah. He's
There
starting.
was- yes.
He's starting a legacy. I'm intrigued to see how much farther it can really go, because I feel like we're still gonna have this debate, even though the Celtics finally got a ring with Tatum and Brown. I feel like we're still gonna have this debate of, can they really get over the hump again? Can they continuously do it? Is it just a one-time thing? Is it, because we've had 6 straight years of a different finals winner.
Yes.
Can Boston really become like this dynasty that they've had in the past with this duo? I don't know. I think basketball's too open right now.
I don't think so. I think that because they're gonna have to pay Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, Jason
Tatum.
JJ.
Jaylen Tatum and
Jaylen Tatum
Jason
and
Brown.
Jason Brown. Yeah, they're going to pay them $600 million, combined. They're not going to have a lot of money left over for Kristaps, for Drew Holiday.
Oh, they've
for
already paid
Derek
Drew
White,
Holiday.
For Derek White. I mean, they're going to have to pay these guys and keep them under contract without going way too much into the luxury. So I think that this was an all-in year for Boston because they're probably not going to be able to retain Kristaps and some of their bench players. So I do think they'll still be good. They'll still be 50-plus wins every year. I just don't see them winning the finals.
I want to talk about the Mavericks, though, real quick. Oh, Alan, you have a thought?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think they could come close to winning the finals again, but next year would be the last time that it happens. Because let's say that they do dip into the luxury so they can pay both of them. I don't think it lasts as long as people would probably believe. I do think that next year would be their only chance to repeat, because I don't think that they would get close again. Not for a while, because then
I'd like to start paying
for all
I think they're always
contracts.
going to be up there. In
So
the East.
then you just are out of money and out of players.
Yeah. I want to talk about the Mavericks, though, real quick. And I want to talk about Luka Doncic in particular. Because, Luka Doncic offensively is maybe the most gifted player in the NBA right now. Arguably.
Yeah.
Arguably.
Talent-wise, I would just go with that too.
Defensively, it is non-existent. I would like to call Luka Doncic, as a person who does like Luka Doncic's game, he's the Michael Jordan of James Harden's. Let's be honest. Because, I'm just saying.
He's got all the offensive talent. He wins, although
really,
Jayson Tatum. Although James Harden has an MVP.
He does have an MVP.
But
I'd make the argument Luka should have won MVP this year. Jason, now you're going to make Jason
now
Tatum.
we're screwed up.
Yeah. Get Boston Celtics
Go
players
away,
out of my
Jayson
mind.
Tatum.
James Harden, regardless, he still didn't make a finals as the guy. He was number 3. He was really the 6th man for that Thunder team when they made it against Miami. But, Luka Doncic, there's something different about him for some reason. But still, the defense. To me, he's more of a better version of... he's a more offensively skilled Carmelo Anthony, as Colin Cowherd said. And when he said that, I'm like, you know what? He is so correct.
Yeah, like I said,
I think he's right.
He's not as athletic.
Not as athletic.
No,
he is a much
Luka
more
doesn't
skilled.
dunk.
He doesn't
or
dunk.
anything.
Can,
like that.
but-
He's a less
Not like
athletic,
Melo.
more skilled Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
Who still can't hit free throws at a really efficient rate.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing.
Yes.
He can make the toughest shots in the world, but he can't make the easiest.
Yeah.
And it's
Like,
so,
his free throw-
that would infuriate me as a
Thing is,
Mavs
The
fan.
Mavericks free throw percentage this NBA Finals got, I don't know if you guys saw, but it was bad as a team.
It wasn't good.
Thing is, you got to look at some of these players in the last decade or so. The Warriors knew that Steph's had a little bit of lackluster defense early on. He's gotten better.
Yeah.
He's got better on in his career, and he adapted and changed. And now Steph Curry, he's got 4 rings, and he's got his own legacy. With Luka, will he be or will he adapt? That's a guy I think he needs to adapt his game somewhat.
Yeah, the thing that I
Because
take
I see
away
the talent.
yeah.
He could be here. He could win multiple
Yeah.
finals. He's a talent that could win
Yes.
multiple finals. But his defense to me, his defense is even worse than what James Harden.
It's
Yeah.
defense
was.
and his
At least
attitude
James
as
Harden,
well.
his attitude. I think regardless, people have their thoughts of James Harden. I've been out there.
Yeah.
You hate James Harden.
Yeah.
I've been
You
out there.
despise the man.
I'll give him credit. I feel like the older he's gotten, the more skilled he's gotten throughout his whole game.
More mature, it
He's
seems
gotten
like,
a
too.
lot more mature, I think. So I can tip the cap to James Harden. With Luka, now I'm at this area where I'm like, will he adapt? Because he's been playing the same way since he was in Spain. He has
Yeah.
not adapted since he was 14,
No,
15
and
years
like,
old. His game's been the same.
We saw it after Game 3. He was out there, infuriated with his teammates.
Yeah.
All this stuff about he was upset with them, blaming them, and you're not going to win an NBA Finals blaming your teammates. And the thing that with the defensive part of his game, yeah, it's not that great. I take of it as you need a teammate or multiple teammates that are really good at defense. You look at how Steph Curry wasn't the greatest defensive player. He had his moments where he gave up a lot of shots, but they had Draymond Green.
They had
And
Draymond Green, Clay,
won.
Andre Iguodala.
Yeah,
they usually had a center.
They
locked
built-
down
Yes.
The thing is, they
players.
realized very early on in his career, Steph is not great
Yep.
at defense. What did they do? They went out and got really good
All
defensive
Luka
players.
has is Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is a pretty good defensive player. Gafford had some moments where he was there, but it really is just Kyrie who's that lockdown defensive
And he's
player.
not even like a lockdown guy.
No, he's not.
not.
He's a good, not lockdown. Draymond was locked down. Clay played some really good defense when he was with, there. Andre Iguodala, one of the most underrated defensive players on that team.
Yeah.
Won Finals MVP in 2015 because of it. I mean,
Right.
yeah, if you're not a good defensive player, you're going to need to surround them with teammates that are good defensive players, and the Mavs only have one. and he's a
You know
good
who
one.
I think would fit perfectly in Dallas? And, a lot of people make fun of him specifically with how he plays in the postseason. But he's a 3 or 4 time Defensive Player of the Year for a reason, and Rudy Gobert. I feel like him at the 5.
I don't think Minnesota's going to give on.
They're
him.
not going to give him.
Like,
They're not going to give him away. But I feel like he needs some kind of player like that.
I
on the
think
team
I
to
think
help
they'll be
balance
fine.
a
with
double type of player who's really
They-
good lockdown.
They have Derek Lively, who's a rookie. I think they're gonna keep him because
Yeah.
he's probably gonna be that center for them.
He
He
probably
was a
will.
rookie this year, and you saw growth.
You did see
and I
growth.
think they're gonna keep growing with him. I don't think they want to just get another center because they already got Gafford. They got him. I think they're gonna stick with that.
They need something.
I think
they
just
need a really good forward.
I think Jason Kidd needs to change the offense.
He needs to
It's
not have
too
Luka be the game
ISO
plan.
heavy. It is little. It's just Luka. You go ISO, hold the ball, and try to pass it last second. Kyrie, you go try to get a shot. That's all the offense was, and it was kind of slower pace. The whole reason why Indiana, the Pacers, were able to score as much as they did, because it's fast paced. They're going to pass the ball. They're going to go. It's all that.
They had a balanced team and a balanced offense.
They could hit threes. They could go attack the paint.
See,
The
you-
Mavericks, it is all slow paced. It's Luka's tempo and nothing else. And Luka likes to play slow. He likes to take almost 30 shots to score only 27 points. I think to me that needs to change as well. If you're taking Lily as many shots as you score in your points, that's not efficient. It's not.
Yeah, it's not. And I think that for Dallas moving forward, they need to add something else specifically. It doesn't need to be like a Rudy Gobert. It can be somebody else. It could be a double guy, like you said, who is very efficient defensively. They need some other forward.
They need
or
a
something.
wing. They need a wing defender. That's what they need. They don't like.
They don't need nothing crazy. I don't think. I
Yeah.
think Dallas
and they
can
need a
easily get
skilled
back.
forward.
They need a
just
3-and-D
have,
guy.
They have 2 really good guards, and that's it.
Thing is, was this Luka's best chance though? Because the West is fairly deep.
I
It
mean,
is.
it is. I mean, and Minnesota's only going to get better. I think
Oklahoma
with-
City is going to
Oklahoma
only
City's
get better.
only going to get
Denver's
well,
still there.
They can only get better. They won 57 games, but yeah, they will be better next year in terms of postseason play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because this was
of
their
experience,
first year
yes.
of starting. Yeah, and you still have teams like the Nuggets. The Nuggets are still
And
very
you still
good.
got, who's supposed to be the next GOAT anyway, and Victor Wembanyama and the young team in San Antonio in
Honestly,
the next couple years with
the
that
Houston
growth.
Rockets, what they've been
Like
doing,
it
that's
The Rockets
been.
are underrated, by the way.
If Zion can stay healthy, with
I don't see the
Pelicans-
Rockets doing anything like
No.
the top. But I could
No.
see them being an
They'd-
8 or 7.
Yeah.
seed.
At least next season.
Yes.
Yes. The Rockets, I think, actually have.
And
a
then you
bright
got to figure
future.
out what the Pelicans do. Man, they got to figure out what they're going to do
I
with
think
Brandon Ingram.
I think this was Luka's best chance. Honestly, I think this was his best chance. I'm not saying he couldn't get back. I think he will get back at some point in his career. I think this was that best chance to finally get it, though. I think because the West, it's very young and it's got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Like you said, you still got Denver, but you got a lot of other teams up and coming right now. And I think Dallas, they need to kind of watch what's happening because I think there's other teams out there that are just better team oriented. We saw the better team win the NBA Finals for a reason.
We've been seeing that the past few years.
Yeah, I was going to
The better
say
team-
the best playing team and the best team overall
Yeah.
have been winning. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that moving forward, Dallas has to create a team around Luka to fit his weaknesses.
Which is defense.
That need to fit his weaknesses
And they
to
also
help
need a
balance
few
it
free
out.
throw shooters.
They definitely need a few free
Besides
throw
Kyrie.
shooters.
Yeah.
Allen,
I do believe that the Mavericks could potentially get back. I do think that the West is going to be the best conference next season again.
It's gonna be the best for the next
It's going to
decade.
be the best for a long time.
You have the young Thunder. They just got their first experience together in the playoffs with a pretty decent run. And then you'll have the Nuggets, obviously. And then again, the Mavericks, they'll be there. The Timberwolves will be there. But I do like the growth and direction of the Pelicans. Again, if Zion can stay healthy, I think they'll be towards the bottom like a 7 or 8, but I still think they can do some damage. So I do think Luka can make it back, but I just don't know if he'll win it.
That'd be a really good player for not Zion. Brandon Ingram would be a good fit in Dallas. It's a
That
wing,
actually
it's a
might
wing,
be the
a
name.
wing
Yeah.
player who can play defense.
That might be
and
the
he
name.
averages about 17, 18.
He can shoot off ball and
He can
get
shoot
a
off
bucket.
ball, and I think he's probably on his way out of New Orleans.
Yeah.
because
I
he's
agree.
very unhappy
I think he's
there.
actually going to be gone this
Yeah,
offseason.
I
for
could
sure.
I do
see
too.
Dallas.
I think you may have just
because
That's-
that would
said the
be
name.
yeah.
that'd
honestly,
be a
right
really good name and because then you'd have Brandon Ingram as your forward, then Kyrie and Luka, and then you can have
And you
your
still
cent-
and you have
Not gonna
PJ
lie.
Washington and
PJ
Derek
Yes.
Lively.
I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of nasty. That's
'Cause
kind of
I-
nasty.
They'd have
mean,
to send a
they- 'cause
lot
no
of. They
offense to
probably have
Derek-
to send
yeah.
a lot of picks to New Orleans, but
Yeah.
they could get
Probably.
it done.
That's a nasty lineup right there. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
it is.
I think that might have been the name. I think that might
because
be the guy.
he's on his way out.
Yeah.
And
sure.
Zion, we don't know, but
I do want to talk about this though, real quick. Back to Jayson Tatum and the finals. With his cringy moments that he had. He tried way too hard.
he
did.
But I'll say this.
What they gonna say now?
I'll say this. I think his moment from the finals. Me and Aaron both agree on this. It's the photo with his son.
Oh,
when
yeah.
you didn't even notice.
With
That's
Deuce.
that's the photo that everyone should think about
With
when they
Deuce,
come to Jayson
yeah.
Tatum with his moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the finals. We give him a lot of flack. We sit here and hate on Jayson Tatum a lot, and me in particular, as being the city of Boston hater I am. I still just got to go back and say congrats. I hate biting my tongue. It's bad. It sucks.
I have
I
nothing
did say
against-
you were gonna sweep though. You didn't sweep, so that's your problem. That's not mine.
No,
Okay.
game 4 Dallas was out of their mind.
They gave him a gentleman's sweep. They said, "Hey, we
Yeah.
want to go win it back at home here, Dallas. Have
Yeah.
a game." They gave him the gentleman's sweep.
I don't care. I dock you for not sweeping. That
They
sucks,
only lost
Celtics.
3
Hey,
games the
hey.
postseason.
It doesn't matter. They still didn't sweep them.
And I will say this, to the people that are clowning the Celtics, it really doesn't matter. But like I said, they only played a team. The highest team was a 4 seed. And that was
I don't
the
think
Cavs.
it would've
And that
mattered.
was an injured Cavs
I
team.
Are we-
don't
let's
think
be
it
I don't
honest.
know.
mattered.
I think Minnesota, if they would have made it, I think that would have been a better
Better.
matchup because then you have the defensive players down
Yes.
low
Yeah.
with Anthony
they would
Edwards
have,
at the top.
they would. It probably would have been. I think when Dallas won, it was like, oh god, Dallas.
We
Dallas
all
got to
expect.
stop.
At least I
Well-
did. I expected the Celtics to win.
Yeah.
When I saw Dallas, if
Yes.
Minnesota made it, I would have. Say this goes to 6 or 7 games. I could see a world where Minnesota wins it.
Yeah.
I had a hard time believing Dallas, at least deep down, was going to win this series with how talented the Celtics were,
Yes.
and how front heavy the Mavericks were with just Luka and Kyrie.
I gotta give my shout out to Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
He's won 2 championships. It's both been in the first season where he got traded to the team. Milwaukee Bucks trade for him in 2021, win the finals. Boston Celtics trade for him. They win the finals.
All right, so let's
Drew
think
Holiday.
I think the Pistons should trade for him now.
Okay.
But let's be honest though.
Role players are huge right now.
Role players are
and
huge.
Peyton Pritchard, no one's better at buzzer beaters than him.
Role players are huge, but I feel like that's a guy in Drew Holiday. I think he's been maybe one of the most overlooked players in the NBA in the last 20
Disrespected,
years.
too.
Oh.
Disrespected. Now 2-time final. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. I want you guys to know. Drew Holiday's going to be a Hall
I
of Famer.
don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall
I mean,
of Famer.
do you not know
His
how
pedigree
easy it is
there.
to make the Basketball Hall of Fame?
He is
Yeah,
going to
but
be
I'm
a
pretty sure
Hall
he's
of
won a
Famer.
gold medal. he's about to be on the Olympic team
If
too.
you look
so
at
he's probably
his-
going to get a gold medal.
Look at his accolades. Drew Holiday is a Hall of Fame basketball
It's
player.
a media-driven basketball Hall of Fame, though, and I don't think the media is
I'm not
going
saying-
to let him go into the Hall of Fame. Do I think he's a Hall of Fame player? I think he's a really, really, really good player. I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer because I don't think he's averaged over. Well, then again, it's
just
not
saying-
about averages.
I'm
He's
just
just
saying,
a really
look-
good. He's a
Look-
really
look
good
at-
player.
I'm just saying, Carmelo Anthony's done nothing. He's going to be a Hall of Famer if he isn't already. I can't remember. I'm just saying.
I don't think
there's
he is
a,
yet.
I don't think he is.
I'm just
I
saying.
don't
There's
know.
a lot of players who've done not a lot at the NBA level, comparative. To
Then it
others
was
that are
Zach
still.
Randolph got his jersey retired by the Grizzlies.
I'm just telling you right now.
I mean,
I'm
obviously.
telling you right now, Drew Holiday might be one of the best role players of the modern era. Maybe the best role player in the modern era of basketball.
Yeah, especially this.
Yeah.
Post,
Time.
I'd say post Jordan Pippen. He might be top 3. Genuinely, as a role player, he might be the best.
Yeah, I mean,
I really think that because of the
I
impact.
don't know. Manu Ginobili's up there.
Manu Ginobili, yeah,
Ginobili,
Like
yeah.
Manu
Ginobili's
Ginobili-
like literally the best 6-man almost of all time. Like
he is the best 6-man. But the thing is, he was a starter for a long time though.
yeah, he was.
So was
You know
Drew
what I'm saying?
Holiday.
So Drew Holiday, yeah, yeah.
Drew Holiday's
good
always
point.
been a
I was
starter.
gonna say,
He was an all-star in
He's always
Philly.
been a starter. Yeah.
You know what? You're right. Manu Ginobili, Drew Holiday, they're on the same pedigree. But Manu Ginobili was there for like all of them. So Manu Ginobili's actually probably the best. But Drew Holiday's up there.
He's good.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, he's got to
Yeah.
be up there with them.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday, you deserve your flowers.
Also,
you know?
Peyton Pritchard, why can you stop making like half-court buzzer beaters or like crazy 3 buzzer beaters? Like, what is that?
It's his game.
really,
like-
really, all I gotta say is, Boston, can you please fall into the Atlantic Ocean and never come back? As a city, please. You have 18 rings with just your basketball franchise, let alone the other franchises you have. It makes the rest of the country miserable.
They've had over 14 rings since 2000, I think.
Yeah.
And I've seen 0. Well, I've seen Ohio State, but I was a kid.
I
don't
Ohio
really
State,
remember that.
And I've seen Miami. So
I had Ohio State in 14. I had the Pistons in 04. I was 1 year old. Don't remember that. And I had the Wings in 08. Don't remember that. I barely remember seeing the Ohio State National Championship.
How do you barely remember that? Anyway.
I was a freshman.
Because I was 11.
Just goes to show the age on this guy. Yikes.
Hey, Alan was in 8th grade.
But
he was a Michigan fan, so...
Yeah, he don't care.
Yeah.
He's just now getting his glory.
Cheaters.
Congratulations. Yeah, you cheating bastard.
Oh, cry me a river, Spencer.
Huh?
I said cry me a river.
Yeah, wah. Cheaters.
It's going to be nice when they take away
I can't wait for Texas to whoop your butt. Forgot we can't curse on this.
I did also just say bastard, but that's okay. Anyway, so we're getting off track here. That's going to wrap up this segment here. When we come back, whatever we're going to talk about, football, baseball. Yes. Thanks for that flash, Kevin. We appreciate you. All that and more. Don't go anywhere here. You're watching the Ball and Beats podcast.
Here we go.
And welcome back here to episode 107 here of the Ball and Beats podcast. I'm joined with Aaron, Spencer, and Alan via Zoom. Alan can't necessarily see us right now, but all of us are rocking our favorite football teams.
That's right.
Yeah.
For some reason, we all decided
to.
This was not planned, by the way, Alan.
No, it wasn't.
It was not.
We all somehow came here with a Packers shirt, a Browns t-shirt / hoodie, and a Lions jersey. So for some reason, middle of June, almost beginning of July, it's
I miss football.
We're fiending for football right
football.
now really bad because all of our baseball teams suck.
Mid. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, football season never ends. There's no such thing as the off season around here.
Nope.
We don't believe in that, and we still got to talk some football here.
Yeah.
Because football is what makes the world go round.
I miss football.
Yeah, same.
And it's the only good team I have. Ohio State and the Lions.
It's the only.
All my other teams blow.
Hold on, he just said good team for Detroit Lions. Can we just give you all a round of applause real quick for actually being good at football?
I'll try. Actually, I know I can. It's not the Bears, so it's fine.
Keep the hat.
Congratulations,
Division
Detroit
champs.
Lions, on finally being good at football. And I'm going to clap for the Browns to finally being consistently mid to good.
Hey, you guys extended a coach and a GM.
We did talk about that a little bit, that we finally got, a coach and GM extended. I can't lie to you guys.
Only took forever.
It literally was the first time in my life I witnessed a head coach and general manager get extended past their first contract.
Well, yeah,
it feels nice.
You guys went through quarterbacks and, owners and GMs and all the coaches and stuff. They
had Joe Thomas.
Revolving door.
We had Joe Thomas, Phil
Grand
Dawson,
opening,
and Josh Cribbs.
grand closing. And there was Joe Thomas, wasted away.
Joe Thomas, you forgot about Phil Dawson. You forgot about Josh Cribbs.
Revolving door. Revolving door. Grand opening, grand closing.
The real question is, who was your favorite Cleveland Browns quarterback at that time frame? Who was your favorite one? As the outsiders, was it Tyson Campbell?
I don't know why. I like
Tyson.
Seneca Wallace.
Terrence Campbell. Was it Connor Shaw? Was it Zach Mettenberger? Was it,
Watching the Browns go 0-16 was hilarious because my team went 0-16, and I'm like, okay, I can share this depression with another team. And it was a Central Catholic quarterback.
Deshaun Kaiser. Shout you out, Deshaun Kaiser. We love you here.
The only known Central Catholic player, and he was awful. Yep.
That is not true. There's other Central Catholic players.
Who?
James Hudson. right tackle.
He's
Cleveland Browns. There you go.
mid.
Hey, don't be saying nah. I'm gonna stand up for my Central boys.
Hey, at
Come
least
on
my
now.
high school's got a Super Bowl winner football player. Just saying.
Matthew Light. Congrats. He also was sitting there on the Tom Brady roast.
He was.
So fair
Hey,
enough.
shout out Luke Fortner, the center who hikes the ball to Trevor Lawrence, who's now making $55 a year.
Yep.
The only Northview player to ever make the NFL. Congrats, buddy.
Yeah, let's
I don't know what
Can we
world.
quickly talk about that though?
Is the world seeing another Trevor Lawrence that I'm seeing? I'm seeing a bunch of average, maybe good.
I'm seeing Daniel Jones.
Okay, don't go that
Okay,
far.
no.
Statistically,
no,
he's
that
been
is- no, he's not that
statistically
bad.
Trevor Lawrence has been Daniel Jones, and he was supposed to be the next best quarterback since Andrew Luck.
Trevor Lawrence has a weird NFL career because it started his rookie year with Urban Meyer as his head coach.
Yeah.
Loved Urban Meyer.
Love you,
Ohio
Urban, but you're
State.
not an NFL
But
coach.
he
not
was
an NFL coach.
not. It was terrible for him. Gets Doug
yeah.
Peterson. Has a decent second year. Makes that 27-0 comeback against the Chargers, which who knows how much is on Trevor Lawrence and Jaguars and how much of that is on the Chargers.
They tied the Browns in playoff
Yes,
wins. With
They
that
did.
win. In like
And they
last
also
decade.
started last year 8-3, and then
Yeah, and they
fell
choked
off
it
a
away.
cliff. Well, Trevor Lawrence also got injured, but then the entire team fell off a cliff.
Statistically, you do not deserve 5-year, $275 million
No.
contract.
It makes-
$200 million
but that's
guaranteed.
the quarterback
This
market
is the quarterback mark right now because there's
And
also
they weren't
talks-
going to get rid of him.
They
Why
weren't.
He's a good quarterback. It's not like saying we're good, but I expected Trevor Lawrence to take a huge leap last year because
I
he
did too.
had
I-
he had weapons that he didn't have in the past year.
One of my way too early season predictions last year was he was going to lead the league in passing yards.
I say, didn't Spencer have him as MVP?
He had him in the
I had
Super
the,
Bowl.
I had the Jaguars.
Yeah, I say,
Hold on. Can we just say this real quick? Can we just not talk about his preseason Super Bowl
Hey,
prediction? from
I
last year?
almost had it correct.
It was the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, mine was Lions Chiefs. I was very close.
Mine was-
you were really
Actually,
close.
mine was Cincinnati Bengals
But
and
then
San
again,
Francisco.
all your season rewards were Lions.
It was.
and they didn't get one.
They did not.
That's okay.
The Browns got 4.
Yeah, and how
they
many?
got a lot.
Yeah, we got more playoff wins and a division title, unlike you guys.
And
What was the last year? 1989. Oh man,
Yes.
it
Yeah,
feels
that was
it feels
1989,
so
yeah.
good. I want to tell the entire audience, it feels so good to finally say we have a division title, unlike his team.
We are the only team left who've not had one in like modern
I
days,
have
so,
lots.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
You live and breathe division titles.
You-
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say
Division titles mean nothing.
privilege.
Alan, can you please get in here and make sense of this mess? How are you feeling about the Lions going into this year coming up?
I mean, I'm feeling really good. I mean, this team, they surprised many people last year, including me. I'm not going to lie, at the beginning of the season, I didn't think that they were going to almost make a Super Bowl. So,
They should have.
hats off to the Lions and Dan Campbell's philosophy, biting some kneecaps. It works. But I'm thinking it's going to go similar. I do believe that we do get into a position where we could potentially go to the Super Bowl. This team, they have all the makings. I mean, we just revamped the defense again through the draft. I mean, our offensive line is the best, one of the best in the league. And I just think we just add like a few more key pieces. I do think Jahmyr Gibbs takes a leap this year. I think Hutchinson's going to be great in that new defensive line. So, I mean, I'm expecting more of the same.
No, yeah, I'm excited too. I think it's an entirely young team too, which is really, exciting. Damn near the entire team's under 25. But the one thing I will say, this division's a completely different coin than it was last year.
Yeah.
The Packers are really good again. God, I hate
We
that.
did a
Please tell me the
half-year
last time they
rebuild.
won.
The
good.
Bears are a complete wild card. You don't know if they're going to be good or you don't know if they're going to be bad
Or mid.
or mid. You don't know because Caleb Williams could have a CJ Stroud type season or he could have a Deshaun Kaiser type of season. You don't know.
And then,
And then Minnesota, I don't expect a lot from the Vikings, but I do expect a tough team because they still have a really good defense with Brian Flores.
the only real difference is the quarterback.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think J.J. McCarthy, since he's Mr. Checkdown, he relies on all targets around him
Well,
because
I will
J.J.
say
McCarthy
this.
is not a good quarterback.
J.J.
He relies on everybody around him, and he can do that in Minnesota.
I will
'cause he's
say
got
this, though.
Aaron
He
Jones
probably
and
is not
Justin
going to
Jefferson.
start. It's probably going to be Sam Darnold, who you'll see at least
There
for the
has
first
been
half of the
talk.
season.
There's been
There's
talks.
been talk, yeah.
I don't know. I think think it will be McCarthy because they
start the
selected
year.
10th, but
that don't matter. Like if you
it
want to be
doesn't
smart,
in the end. Yeah,
it
I don't
matter.
care. So.
I think Darnold's going to be your day one starter. It sounds pretty confidently. They say there's a less than 10% chance McCarthy's
but
day one
the
starter.
NFC North is going to be the toughest division in football. Alongside the AFC North will be good as well. Both Norths are going to be the best division in their respective leagues, and I don't think it's particularly close because I could see any team from the AFC North making the playoffs. Pittsburgh, you know what you're going to get with Pittsburgh. You're going to get a 9-8 team. Cleveland's a wild card. Baltimore's really good, and Cincinnati's going to be healthy again.
If they are healthy.
They
should win the
division.
The
NFC North, the Lions are the division favorites. Very good. Packers right behind them. Very good. The Bears are a wild card, and the Vikings, who knows?
They could be a wild card.
They could be a wild card because they do have a good defense.
They have
a very
sneaky good roster.
And they revamped their defensive line after losing Daniil Hunter and getting Jonathan Greenard.
Yeah.
They have pieces now. And they got Dallas Turner in the draft on that defense. He was one of those players I really wanted for the Lions. And J.J. McCarthy, you don't know. But you know you're going to get Justin Jefferson, who's going to play out of his mind.
They have Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson. They got Aaron Jones.
They have pieces. Yes. And I think that's going to be the thing that I most worry about as a Lions or a Packers fan. The division you're playing in is going to beat you up. You are going to be playing tough games. You're going to be playing primetime games. Same thing that the AFC North is. The AFC North's a gauntlet.
That's the black and blue
every
division
single
for a
game
reason.
is not a gimme. And every single game is a tough game. There's no easy games in the division. And I think it's the same for the NFC North next year. You can't look past any of the opponents. But that's what happens when you get exciting football. So,
For the AFC North and the Browns in particular, it really is a wild card, coming into this year. It's all dependent on how Deshaun Watson plays. Everyone sees that the Browns arguably has the best defense in football, specifically when it's in the regular season and specifically at home. They have the best defense in football. Everyone knows that defense is going to come to play. What Deshaun Watson will we get? Will we get a Houston Deshaun Watson, or will we get a guy that looks like he's only played 12 games in the last 3 years? So that's where we're at here with Deshaun Watson. And you've seen flashes. You've seen flashes. He got injured. He's coming off of a shoulder injury. He's ahead of schedule, it sounds like. And the real question as well, besides with Watson, will Nick Chubb also be the same running back once he becomes fully healthy as well? I do like the fact that Jerry Jeudy joined the Browns, not necessarily for wide receiver 1, but he's a great wide receiver 2. Yeah. Jerry Jeudy should not be your number 1 option. Amari Cooper, they're still working out a contract extension. It does seem like they'll probably get that done sooner rather than later. He's been holding out a mini camp right now. But I feel like the Browns are being overlooked because of everyone and what they think Deshaun Watson will be. I think, regardless, this division, it's absolutely insane on paper. You have Lamar Jackson with Derrick Henry in the backfield with Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers.
That's insane. Just Derrick Henry being on the Ravens.
It makes too much sense, though.
It makes way too much sense, but man, that defense is gonna.
I don't want to play them on
defenses
Madden.
going against the Ravens are gonna go through hell because you have a mobile quarterback in Lamar Jackson who can hurt you from any position in the field, and then you have Derrick Henry who will truck you and probably send you to the hospital.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Then you got Pittsburgh, who, the thing is, Pittsburgh, you know what you're going to get with Pittsburgh because at least defensively.
They're mid. That's what they are.
They're mid, but the thing is, they have Russell Wilson and Justin Fields now. Which quarterback comes out at the end of the day? That's really what I want to ask you guys specifically about Pittsburgh. At the end of the season, who actually will be the starting quarterback for the Steelers?
I think Russell Wilson's going to start. I think Russell Wilson's going to finish because Justin Fields, from what I've heard, is not having a good camp with Pittsburgh. And, they're having him run special teams drills. It's like, I don't know what Pittsburgh is.
I think that's hurting him.
I think that, to me, that's kind of just because of how the kickoff rules are. I don't think that is necessarily a big deal with the special team stuff. But I think more so, he's having a rough camp, but I feel like you'd much rather have a guy who's going into a new system have a rough camp. Russell Wilson's different.
They both are.
They're both
going into new systems.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, I don't know. I feel like Fields is going to be the starter by the end of the season.
Fields was good in Chicago, and we saw flashes of him. He was an MVP candidate for like a
2
week.
weeks.
Yeah, for a week or two.
2 weeks.
But he fell off completely. But the Bears didn't surround him with great talent. And with Russell Wilson, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get pretty good. I mean, he was good in Denver last year. It's not like people made him out to be like he was this awful quarterback. He had 24 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Yeah. That's a solid year. And I think what the problem was Pittsburgh's offense is a joke. I don't think any quarterback is going to thrive there with the system that they have there.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Russell Wilson for the experience. I could see Justin Fields playing a little bit towards the end of the season. But if Pittsburgh's winning games, they're going to keep Russell Wilson. So,
Yeah, I think the same. I think it's Russell Wilson's job right now. I think he's going to start the season, and how the season plays out, I think, is going to determine on who starts. I think if Russell Wilson's not playing that good and they're struggling and not winning games, I could see them throwing in Justin Fields.
Yep.
I think it could happen soon, though. I'm not saying.
I mean, they have to have a bad start for it.
They have to have a
if
bad
they
start.
start like 2-2, if they're staying around 500, they're not gonna bench.
but if they
Russell
get
Wilson.
under 500, if we're talking,
I mean like 1-4,
2-4.
2-5.
You want to, if they're getting to
2-6,
week
yeah.
7, week 8, and they only have 2 or 3
And
wins.
then guess what?
Yeah.
Justin Fields has to play superhero ball yet again to try and save the day. That's the problem I have with Justin Fields. He had to do that every single week in Chicago. But then if you throw him in Pittsburgh and do the same thing just later on in the year, I don't know. I feel like Justin Fields has not necessarily been set up to try and be a successful quarterback.
I
Like
also
he's
don't
been put in
think
very
Justin
bad
Fields will play
situations.
this year.
I think
it
Justin-
might be a year where he can just sit and learn from Russell Wilson.
It could be that,
Yeah.
and maybe he'll be better off for it.
Yeah.
He could be better
Yeah.
off for it, and then say hypothetically Pittsburgh actually gives him a contract extension.
Yeah.
I think Russell Wilson's a 1-year thing. For
Yeah, because they only have each quarterback for this year.
Yep.
That's the thing. I see people saying that, Pittsburgh finally has a quarterback situation. They only have it for 1 year.
Yeah.
They only have it locked up for this season.
Yep.
That's it. So Pittsburgh, at the end of this whole thing, they can realize, we messed up on both of these guys. Now who do we go get? Carson
gonna
Beck.
have to go to-
Who do we get?
they're
Carson
gonna-
Beck, Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, they're going to go
Sanders?
back to the draft because
So I don't know. Pittsburgh's such a wild card. We already know they're going to somehow finish 9-8. Everyone knows that because they have T.J. Watt and some of the best defense in the NFL.
They have a top 5 defense in the NFL.
In Cincinnati, you now have T. Higgins, who signed his franchise tag, who
this
will
is the
report.
last dance for T. Higgins in Cincinnati.
It is. He's not going to be back after this year, I don't
he's
think.
gone.
Jamar Chase needs to get paid pretty soon, and we're
He
talking.
will.
You're talking
That's
probably.
why I think this is Cincinnati's. Well, I don't think it's their last chance, but it's their best chance at least to get back to the Super Bowl and win it because they have Higgins, they have Chase, who's still on his rookie deal. Because next year, you're going to have to pay Chase. You're not going to have Higgins. You're going to have a lot less salary cap because of paying Jamar Chase $35 million a year. They already lost Joe Mixon, so they're losing pieces already. Yeah, that's why I think this is their best chance.
It is their best chance, and Joe Burrow. You have to stay healthy, man.
Yes,
please.
Lamar Jackson's been able to stay healthy.
line. The offensive line for Cincinnati, it's okay. It's not great.
They have a terrible offensive line
They're
coach.
going to Andrew Luck, Joe Burrow, if they don't help it out
Soon.
ASAP. If it's not up to par this year,
If he gets injured again this year, if he tears
has
an
a bad
ACL,
injury,
or if he has a bad injury, I could see a world where he retires.
I could too.
And
too.
he's younger than Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck, I think, retired at 29,
Yeah.
29, something like that. Joe Burrow's 27.
Roughly 27,
26 or
28.
27. One of the two. I could see a world where he retires in the next year or two.
If he's not careful.
If he's not careful, because this offensive line has been so bad. They had moments where they were good last year, then moments where they were awful. And this year, they need guys to step up. Because if they don't, Cincinnati is screwed.
Yes.
If Joe Burrow retires,
Absolutely.
Cincinnati would go into the depths of hell.
That's
Hey,
100%.
they
would-
still have
they-
Ellie
they
De La
would-
Cruz,
they would-
luckily.
They would
Oh.
easily become.
Luckily have Ellie.
They become one of the best offenses to the worst because then Jamar Chase is not going to want to play with some backup. He's going to want out, and then Cincinnati's just going to implode.
Cincinnati's going to implode and become the worst team in the AFC North for a couple years if that happens.
Yeah.
It would happen.
Like Indianapolis did when they lost Andrew Luck.
Yeah. I think that I still got to go back on my Browns, though, because I feel like they are just overlooked a little too much right now. I think they're disrespected.
Depends on Watson. Like
I know
said,
it depends on Watson.
If Deshaun Watson plays like he did last year, which was meh, he was just a whole bunch of mid. He had, games where he played pretty good. And then he had games where he was terrible.
Ironically, I think the last game he played in, when he actually played with a torn shoulder, torn whatever, and a pretty much broken ankle, which was sprained, that game was probably his best game of his Browns career against Baltimore, against the Ravens. And the thing is, I think he can show it again. I think he has glimpses of Houston Deshaun again. That's Cleveland. If you're Cleveland, you look back on this trade right now and what's happening in Houston with C.J. Stroud and company down there.
They've completely They've rebuilt in 2 years.
They've rebuilt in 2 years.
Yeah.
And it looks like Houston has completely won this trade over entirely.
Yes.
The only real way that the Browns have a legit chance to say they won this trade is if they actually win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson would have to win it.
He would have to
not
win
a
Super Bowl.
division, not like
he would have to win a Super Bowl with Cleveland to say that we actually won this trade with the Texans. 100%. And the problem is, on paper, I think the other team. I think the other team has a better chance right now, and you can make the argument they might be the second favorite behind Kansas City.
They have an easier division than you guys too.
They have a much easier division.
Tennessee's bad.
Tennessee's
Indianapolis is
Indianapolis. You guys,
Jacksonville is mid. I mean, you know what you're getting.
I think the AFC South depends on a lot of what's going to happen teams.
Yeah, because
it all comes down to
Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson's got to stay healthy this year. He got only 3 games.
Will Levis.
A lot of people like him. Will Levis.
Levis, I will say this. I think that's a guy who I think is also getting overlooked. I think Will Levis is actually going to be fairly decent. I think they're setting up Will Levis to be pretty good.
Tennessee can be decent this year because they've set him up with talent.
Thing is, everyone thinks Tennessee is going to be one of those teams that might be one of the worst in the AFC. I think Tennessee could be a dark horse wild card team.
Oh, I think my worst team in the AFC is going to be the Patriots.
Patriots,
Yes.
yeah.
I think
but the thing is, some people
they got to rebuild so much.
But the thing is, when you get rid of Derrick Henry, that's their whole offense. But now their offensive philosophy's changed. You've got Calvin Ridley in there now.
Tony Pollard.
You've got Tony Pollard, and you've got Tajay Spears still at running back. You know that.
Then they added L'Jarius Sneed.
And Will Levis, he showed promise. I think
he looked like a rookie quarterback.
He looked like
That's
a rookie
exactly
quarterback.
what he did.
Yeah. But he made some throws. I mean,
he did.
Him and
some throws.
DeAndre Hopkins.
He had that Monday night comeback against the Dolphins.
I'm just saying. Don't sleep on the Tennessee Titans this season, and I think their defense is actually going to be a little bit better as well.
That's another quarterback that's going to be making 55 soon as Tua.
They got, if I can recall, I believe, Azeez Al-Shahir from the Texans, who was originally with San Francisco. I think the Titans are one of those teams to kind of watch out for. I'm not saying it's nothing special.
I don't know where to put them at yet.
Nothing special, but I think Tennessee. I think if there's a team in the AFC right now that I wouldn't overlook simply because of just their situation, I think it would be Tennessee.
I wouldn't overlook any AFC South teams, though. Don't overlook.
I was going to say,
if you overlook any of them, they're going to beat you.
If they all play to the top ability, I could see any of them winning the division. To be fair, I think Houston has the upper hand with how much talent they have. But
then
say
you have the
Anthony Richardson goes out and balls out.
Yeah.
Say Will Levis is. They have a solid O line now.
Say Houston also. Say C.J. Stroud hits that sophomore slump people talk about sometimes too. Sometimes you can get a little in your head too much. Oh, look how good we were last year. We got to the AFC.
Now they have Stephon Diggs, so they're destined to lose now.
Very good point. I'm not gonna lie. I have come on here though, and I've said my hot take, saying that I've doubled down on it twice.
That was before the Stephon Diggs trade too.
I've doubled down on it twice that the Houston Texans are going to make the Super Bowl this year, out of the AFC. That's so make or break for Houston because obviously you have Kansas City, who it's Kansas City, of course, but I think Houston has. I think they have a chance. I think they got a chance. C.J. Stroud, he's got praise from Tom Brady. It's kind of hard for a Michigan guy to get impressed by an Ohio State quarterback in the National Football League. Yeah. But I don't know. I think C.J. Stroud just has it. He's a natural leader, and I think that's what you need to be like the best of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And you see that with C.J. Stroud always. That's always what he's been about. And I really like what they have going for him, and I think Stephon Diggs might even be better off for the fact that C.J. Stroud will be his quarterback, simply for that kind of reason.
Yeah.
Alan, you have any thoughts at all?
I have a really hot take too.
One of my favorite dark horses, I would say, would be the Indianapolis Colts, especially again if you guys are right, if Anthony Richardson's healthy, I do think that they'll be one of those sneaky good wild card teams. But it's gonna go to the Texans for that division anyways, because again, CJ Stroud, unless he hits that sophomore slump, I don't know what to tell you. They're really good, and I wasn't expecting them to even be that good last year. So I do think it'll be an improvement if CJ Stroud can keep going.
Yeah. Since Spencer said he has a really hot take, I have a good idea for us. How about we give 2 way too early season predictions? It could be about anything going into this year. It is June, to be fair, so
That's why it's called way too early.
that's why it's called way too early. But Spencer, how about you kick us off with your way too early predictions? You got a hot take, you said.
I'll have 2. So, one is a 2-parter with the same team. This team was not good last year. They hired a new rookie head coach to go with their going into their second-year quarterback.
Carolina Panthers.
They will go 8-8 this year. That might not sound like a hot take.
Wait, you mean 8-9 or 8-8-1?
8-9.
Oh, yeah,
Or
I
9
forgot.
and
The
8.
17 games, sorry. 9-8.
Okay.
They will be above 500.
It is the NFC South. That division changes on a yearly basis.
I think
does.
Carolina had way too much stuff going on last season, and they gave Bryce Young no help. He has some help now. And the defense was obliterated with injuries last year.
It was.
They are healthy again.
Interesting.
I don't think they'll win the division, but I think Dave Canales will win head coach of the year, and I think the Panthers will go 9-8. Will they make the playoffs? I don't know.
If he wins Coach of the Year, I feel like
Canales,
It's
it'll be
the
a
NFC
7.
South. 9-8 usually wins the division in the
Yeah.
in the
I'll
NFC
say,
South.
yeah,
I
it
think
can.
Tampa is still the better team. I think Tampa. I think Tampa still wins the division, but
You never know.
with Baker Mayfield, you never know if he has
A lot of people
with the
expectations.
look at
NFC
Atlanta.
with the NFC South, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know
So
with the NFC South.
Carolina will go 9-8. They will, and Dave Canales, who I really think is going to be a really good head coach. He resurrected Baker Mayfield. I think they'll go 9-8. For my second hot take, not only will they not make the playoffs, they will get rid of their quarterback. They will get rid of their head coach. Dallas is not making the playoffs next season. And Dallas is going to get rid of Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott.
I low-key said that on 2 episodes ago or so I appreciate that.
Trey Lance will take over as the quarterback for this team next year,
Oh, God.
and they will hire Ben Johnson, unfortunately.
Well, my hot take was even more hot when I said they would hire Deion Sanders from the Colorado.
Yeah, and draft Shadur.
Buffalo's
Oh,
and
yeah.
draft Shadur.
Oh,
Sanders.
yeah, I remember that.
No.
Yeah. I'm not okay. That's only if they do implode. I think they could implode. I think there's
they
a very, very high
I think
chance.
Dallas, I think there's too much going on with them. I think Dak is, with him, he's going to want $60 million next year. And I don't trust Dallas. I just don't. And the NFC East, there hasn't been a back-to-back winner in 2 some decades.
Yeah.
It seems like.
It was the
So it's
early
It's Philly's
2000s
turn
with
because the
Eagles.
Giants aren't winning it and the Commanders aren't winning it. So
Aaron,
So
year 2.
my 2.
Way too early season predictions.
So this first one, I'm gonna predict what an NFC Championship game is going to be. And it involves 2 teams here.
The Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers.
I believe Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers will play
that
in an
watch
NFC
party.
Championship
That
game.
watch party is going to be hell.
I might have to somehow get back to Toledo for that.
For the record,
We almost had it.
if it's in Detroit,
Who knows where it's going to be at?
because
the one thing I
just
got
want
to-
you
I
guys
would
to
go.
know, just so you guys know, for the record, if this does happen, one of these 2 might not be alive at
Nope.
the end of that night.
We'll
Just-
both be.
just
We'll
to let
probably
you know.
both be intoxicated.
Oh,
but
yeah.
One of us won't wake up in the morning.
Here,
Yeah.
Don't be saying intoxicated now. He don't mean that. He means that
No, it sounds
you know,
better than drunk.
not drunk
Yeah.
either. He's saying what he's really trying to say is they're just gonna fight a lot, probably.
Yeah. But the one thing I do gotta say about the Lions though is it's gonna be the first time where they're gonna be. It sounds crazy. It sounds a little cliche, but when you win a division title, you become the hunted and
Yep.
not the hunters.
Yep.
All of Dan Campbell's time at Detroit has been we're gonna be hunters. Well, now it is the other way around. This is like the first time in my life as a Packers fan where it's like, nah, we're hunters, and I've seen it in camp. there's been days where Jordan Love and the offense torches the defense, and there's been days where the defense gets the offense.
Yeah.
You've seen a completely different defense in training camp with Green Bay. My second prediction is going to be that I think Aaron Rodgers will win Comeback Player of the Year. Jets is going to win the AFC East.
Wow.
And
they're winning the Super Bowl.
no, not that crazy. No.
Shout out Joe Namath, you know. The
No,
GOAT.
I don't know. The Bills, I think they'll just need a year to figure it out with all the new pieces with Josh Allen, and I just don't know why. I just don't trust the Dolphins past the month of October.
I don't either.
I will say,
Because they got to play
It is
the
a fair-
Packers
They
on
always have
Thanksgiving night.
Decembers where they just die. They always
I
go
will say-
1-3 in December.
the,
They don't like cold
AFC
weather.
East, the AFC East is fairly open.
It
At
is.
least on paper
I
for
think the
this
Bills
season.
will just need a year to figure
I
out all
can
the
see
new pieces.
anybody but the Patriots winning that division.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no way New England wins
If
that
things
division.
fall into the Jets' lap properly and Aaron Rodgers plays actually plays football for the Jets, let alone actually play like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I do think that's a
I
possibility.
say it hasn't been that long
The
ago since
problem
he's
is,
won
man,
back-to-back MVPs.
They still don't have an offensive line.
I mean, hey, they at least drafted a
They
tackle
at
in
least
the
drafted
draft.
a tackle, but
They
man,
did.
their center and guard situation is awful.
Well, their other tackle just needs to stay healthy. Their one guard, Tucker, just needs to stay healthy. That's the problem. Elijah Vera Tucker cannot
He's-
stay healthy.
yikes.
Yeah.
I like Breece Hall. I do.
Yeah.
I really like him.
He's going to be
think-
really good.
I think they're going to have to utilize him a lot. Like, I think that's
he
what's
should
going to...
easily be back one.
Oh, he is. They got rid of Dalvin Cook, so they don't have that whole situation anymore. Dalvin Cook's still a free agent, by the way. If
No
anybody,
one's going to pick him up.
no one is. They're
How
running-
has Dallas not even bothered to call Dalvin Cook?
That's the craziest part,
Yeah.
yeah.
They didn't even bother to call Derrick Henry.
Or Aaron Jones.
They didn't call any of these guys. They didn't call Josh
They
Jacobs.
called Zeke.
Yeah, they got Zeke back, yeah. Oh, no, Packers won Josh Jacobs. Matt LaFleur won Josh Jacobs really bad. They apparently wanted Josh Jacobs when we traded Devontae Adams over there.
That was probably.
We
something
also
that
want
they-
Darren Waller as well, which good thing we didn't
Yeah,
get Darren Waller.
he's retired
Well,
now.
he's retired now, but shout out. Honestly, you should be a rapper, dude. You should be a singer.
Yikes.
Kelsey Plum, he misses you dearly. Aaron, Alan. Wrong A name. What's your 2 hot takes?
My first one is that Atlanta's actually going to win the division with Kirk Cousins. I do think that he's a player that they really do need. I think they needed a good quarterback like that. So I do believe that he can lead them to that divisional win.
Alan,
And then my
Alan,
other one
Alan, real quick,
Is I do
real quick before you
believe
get in.
Wait, what?
Real quick before you get back into that, I gotta say we're back to the Allen quote unquote hot takes.
Just call it a prediction.
Just call
Don't
it a
call it a hot take.
Fine, these are my predictions.
Pretty sure they're the betting favorite
They
right
are
now.
the betting favorite.
We're back to the
My
Allen hot
prediction.
takes, boys. They're not hot. They're just microwaved for 10 seconds.
Even though I won that award and I still had the best hot take of that episode. But
Exactly.
anyways,
Anyway, yes. Back to your second one,
Lukewarm
Alan. Back to your second one.
again, this isn't a hot take. I actually think the Chargers will win the AFC West, and I do think that they make a Super Bowl run.
See, that's a hot take
That's
right there.
a good one.
That's
You
that's
redeemed
that's
yourself.
like an inferno take.
That's a hot take.
He went from ice cold to literally burning in hell. Take. So we appreciate your efforts there.
Guys, think about it. The Michigan man's he's backing Jim Harbaugh.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna lie though. Lance McConkey, that draft pick for them.
Lad McConkey.
Lad McConkey. I don't know why I said Lance. I like that pick.
Because Lad's
great
a weird
pick.
name. Lad.
The problem is he's got to be
lad.
wide receiver 1 already because Quentin Johnston is definitely a
Sucks.
wide receiver 6. You
On
know.
a bad team.
Yeah, then Mike Williams went to the Jets.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's not happening, but I appreciate the really hot take there because Kansas City is going to
Hey,
win the
this is way
AFC West.
too early anyways.
They
We'll
are
see.
going to win the AFC West until at least 2043. So, I appreciate the efforts,
Patrick
though.
Mahomes retires.
I appreciate
Don't
the
worry, when we
efforts.
get closer to the season, I'll have a better pick for who actually wins that division.
I wonder who your second team in Kansas City. We all know it. We all know that's your real team at heart. All right.
You better not switch up, Alan.
Hey, he can actually
Hey,
do
this
that
is a
though.
way too early prediction.
These are way
I
too
can
early
switch up.
predictions.
I can
Yes.
change my mind.
I'm not going to act like my first prediction isn't necessarily like the hottest take in the world, because I feel like this is one that's maybe sort of anticipated at some point here in the near future. But I do think it happens this season. I do think one wide receiver breaks Calvin Johnson's receiving yardage record this year. I don't know who. It could be Tyreek Hill, could be Justin Jefferson.
Probably one of the two.
One of those two in particular. You never know. If, say, Joe Burrow's healthy, maybe a Jamar Chase. I do think a receiver this year does break Megatron's receiving yardage record in a season.
That was my bold one from last year.
So that's my first hot take. My second take,
Because it's going to happen at some point.
it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Got to.
2000 is inevitable. I mean, we've seen receivers get like Tyreek Hill last year. He got really close.
I think it's going to happen this season. My second hot take is a two-parter. It involves a team in the NFC East. I think Jaden Daniels wins Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
And I think the Washington Commanders win the NFC East and surprise everybody.
What'd you do? Watch a Colin Cowherd video?
No, I did not watch. I did not watch. Did he say that?
He is like very high on the command. Like he has the Eagles winning it, but I think he had the
can't-
Commanders in second place.
I didn't even know that. I have Washington winning the NFC East. I think for some reason, I don't like Dan Quinn as a fit there in Washington. I can't lie to you. I think they could have gotten a better option at a head coach, specifically for a young quarterback. However,
Ben
I
Johnson.
think
He was supposed to go there. I was told.
Seriously.
However, I think he's going to create a stability that Washington hasn't had in God knows how long. And, getting rid of your two best defensive players might actually work out for Washington in the process. They still have Jonathan Allen up in the defensive tackle spot. They still have Deron Payne as well. Yeah. So they still have that interior defensive lineman. I don't know why. I just have this weird feeling about Washington coming out of nowhere. And Jaden Daniels, I think, is going to be that quarterback, the rookie quarterback who actually stands out of the rest. I feel like he's just going to pull like a Lamar Jackson, and he's going to rush for like over 1,000 yards in his rookie year. He's going to throw for like 25, 30 touchdowns almost. I think we're forgetting the fact that Jaden Daniels actually has a really good receiving core.
Yeah,
I think
Terry
Terry
McLaurin.
I think Washington might be the most underrated receiving core in the league with Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, other pieces. Curtis Samuel still a Commander? I think he's still a Commander.
Isn't he at Indy now?
He might be at Indy. Nah, well, that's Paris
I only
Campbell.
know Terry McLaurin, to
it's
be honest
Paris.
with you.
Well,
So,
it's
I think
they also
Washington-
got Jahan Dotson.
They got Jahan Dotson as
yeah.
well from Penn State. I think Washington, whatever you want to call him, wins the
football
NFC
team.
East.
The football team.
I'm sorry, I
you
like
know.
that name better.
Honest to God, I think they just need to replace the name again. I'm not a fan of the Commanders
I don't like
name.
the Commander's name.
I do not like the Commander's name. They could have been like Red Wolves.
I mean, hey, they got a new ownership group now, so
yeah, Dan
hey,
Snyder's gone.
I-
Dan
which is-
Snyder's
I
gone.
think-
That's gonna help them a lot.
I really think that's
as an
going to help them a
organization.
lot.
Because
And
then they could probably revamp the stadium as well.
give me the Commanders to surprise everybody, since no team can win the same division twice when it comes to the NFC East.
Yeah, the
in a row.
NFC. I think the
Never
NFC,
happens.
I think the NFC East, at least to me, is a little overhyped right now. At least
It's been the
I
most.
think the Eagles are good.
Right.
I think the Eagles will probably win. They got Matt Patricia gone. Crazy what happens when you fire a lunatic. And then
Very true.
Dallas is Dallas. We expect decent things, but then
think the
Cowboys
Giant-
fans get let down.
The Giants are probably going to be one of the worst teams. in the NFL.
Daniel Jones not good.
Although-
I do think Malik Neighbors will be good though.
I also think Brian Dable should continue to be their head coach.
Yeah.
I think they just
'Cause I know
decided
Giants
to pay.
fans want him fired after last year, even though
I think
Daniel
they just-
Jones got hurt.
They just decided to pay Daniel Jones $40 million a year.
Crazy.
Hey, at least now 40 doesn't
That's
seem
not
that
on
bad.
Dable. That's on Joe Schoen,
Hey,
though.
hey, that 40 million doesn't sound like a crazy number anymore. When Dak Prescott won 60.
He wants $20 more million than Danny
Yes.
Dimes.
That's our quarterback market now.
Well, quarterback markets. I can't wait to see you in a decade when the backup quarterback makes $40 million a year.
Okay. So real quick, because I think we're about. What's your Super Bowl prediction for right now?
For right now,
Yes, we're doing really early Super Bowl, and then later on towards training camp, we can do our predictions for divisions.
I'm gonna have to stick with the Houston Texans out of the AFC, since that's my take. I'm gonna have to stick with the Houston Texans, and I'm gonna have to continue to stick with the Houston Texans throughout. So regardless, that's not gonna change out of the AFC. The NFC. You would think you could sit here and continue to talk about San Francisco 49ers. You got some fun teams like the Detroit Lions around here as well, But you know what? I feel love in the air.
Oh, okay.
The Green Bay Packers, huh? How about that?
Yeah, I'm just.
Why can't you guys just die?
Nope.
The Green Bay
Hey,
Packers.
there's a picture on my phone I had saved from like 2 years ago.
All you had to do
about
was
our
get rid of
plan.
Aaron Rodgers to go back to a Super Bowl, huh? That's all it took. That's all it took was finally let Aaron
It's a
Rodgers
methodical
walk.
plan we have. You draft the quarterback 4 years in advance. They go
How about
make
this?
a little run in
You
the
have
playoffs, and they
you
win
have
the Super Bowl.
C.J. Stroud, who is pronounced.
Can't keep getting away with this.
I think you got C.J. Stroud versus Jordan Love. That would feed millions.
Oh, that'd be
Hey, we
that
play.
would be
hey,
fun.
that
would
I'm
actually
pretty
be
sure it's
fun.
a Sunday night game. Week 7. That's like a
Sunday
primetime
night.
game.
It's a primetime game. If it's a primetime game, that's usually
We
what
play in
happens.
the regular
Green
season.
Bay and Houston. That's
Yes,
right, 'cause the NFC
it's at
North plays
Lambeau.
the AFC South.
Give me
It is at Lambeau, yeah.
Packers, Texans. Texans first time ever in a Super Bowl. Packers, no, how many ever? Just
privilege.
And who would win? America.
America.
Because they
I
always
hate one of the teams and love one of the other teams.
I'm gonna go. You know what? Simply because I don't want to jinx them. Let's go Green Bay Packers. They're gonna win the Super Bowl.
Oh, back no.
All right, Aaron. Oh, what's up, Alan? I'm behind us.
Hi, Alan.
Hey, well,
Hey,
so
what's up?
my NFC team obviously has to be either between the Lions and the Packers because I kind of made that as a prediction.
Yeah,
So-
that's right.
I'm trying to
He's
think.
gonna have another Lions Chiefs Super
Do
Bowl.
do we make this 2 years in a row, everybody? Where I have the Lions.
You do it. Do it, Aaron. Do it.
I'm gonna do it again. I'll pick the Lions to come out of the NFC. I'm going to be very sad on that NFC Championship night, like normal.
think
That's
I know-
nothing new.
See, the thing is, I know his AFC team though.
His?
I know what his AFC team is. He hasn't even told me, and I already know what it is.
Oh, he's
He's gonna surprise everyone here. Because you know what? He's gonna support Aaron Rodgers and say the New York Jets.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
not
you
gonna
said
lie.
the Jets.
My hot take was gonna be.
God.
No, I'm gonna do my hot take.
with Aaron Rodgers
Nope.
Super Bowl,
I actually-
can't do
no.
it.
That would be
I'm gonna change
so
it.
amazing.
I can't
Get-
do
no,
it.
guys, get ready for the Super
Imagine.
Bowl.
Hold on.
can't do
Sorry.
it.
Imagine. Get a close up on this guy real quick. If
I
you can.
can't do a Super
No.
Bowl.
I think I have a
Aaron
better
Rodgers
one.
against the Lions.
No, I got a better one for you. Packers Jets.
No.
Aaron Rodgers
No.
against his old team in a Super Bowl.
But you chose the Lions.
No.
No,
It would be-
crazy that would
think
be,
about
though?
it- Think about if the Lions had to make the Super Bowl though, and,
Yes.
and they finally play, and it has to be against Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
That would be something. I'm not gonna lie. That'd bring back a lot of nightmares for Lions fans. Thing is, although I would make the argument the Lions probably have the better team in that matchup, it's still gotta go against Aaron Rodgers. Just remember them Hail Mary days around Thanksgiving time frame. You'll forgive me later.
Hey, the Super Bowl. Hey, the Super Bowl isn't played on Thanksgiving, right?
No.
No, it's not.
Thank God.
It's actually gonna be closer to Valentine's Day. So Jordan Love would fit perfectly in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, can't wait for those graphics.
Alan, preseason Super Bowl prediction, Mister
Okay,
Lions fan
this is
himself,
really-
Detroit.
I know my hot take involves the Chargers, but I'm not gonna pick them out. I'm gonna go kind of realistic here, and I'm gonna say, if the Bengals are healthy, I do think that they make the Super Bowl out of the AFC. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have the Chiefs every year because you can throw anyone on the Chiefs squad as long as you have Patrick Mahomes, you're pretty much guaranteed a Super Bowl. But I do think that Joe Burrow is his kryptonite, and I do think the Bengals, if they're healthy enough, they can make it. And then on the NFC side, I unfortunately do have the Lions going to the Super Bowl. It's only unfortunate because I don't think we can beat the Bengals in a Super Bowl. So that
What
is
a
my
Midwest
prediction, is Bengals
Super
Lions.
Bowl. That's like Indianapolis, Chicago with Rex Grossman in Peyton Manning. You have Joe Burrow and Jared Goff.
Hey, Jared Goff will
Detroit,
finally break a curse.
Detroit, Michigan, and Cincinnati, Ohio. Interesting combination for a Super Bowl. I know that, media would hate seeing something like that. They'd hate seeing Detroit, Cincinnati.
Well, no,
Cincinnati's
they at
gonna
least got
care
Joe
about
Burrow and Jamar Chase.
They got
They'll
Joe
be-
Burrow and Jamar
yeah.
Chase. They'll be fine.
You got to remember, this is the NFL. NFL actually supports its small market teams.
That is very
For
true.
God's sakes, we're the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Like,
Very true. That's very
And-
true.
I mean, there's a
NFL
team
will
in Jacksonville.
yeah, I
You
mean,
mean Saxonville?
yeah.
not
NFL
Saxville
actually,
anymore.
NFL actually likes
No, it's
small
not.
market teams, unlike
right.
NBA.
The London Jaguars. Can't wait to call them that.
So my Super Bowl prediction. I want this to happen because I want chaos.
I already know.
I want Toledo, Ohio to burn to the ground. I want this university to go insane for 2 weeks.
Oh, I know. Yep.
I want the Battle of the Great Lakes. The Battle of Lake Erie. Screw the Buffalo Bills. They don't count.
Get the
I
hell
want the
out of
battle
here.
for Lake Erie. There was a trophy. They played for a trophy at one point.
They did play for a
Yeah.
trophy. Fun fact, guys, if you don't know about it.
I'm going to pick the Cleveland Browns out of the AFC
Oh,
and America's team, the Detroit Lions, out of the NFC. Detroit versus Cleveland. Two cities that hate each other. And then, because I want to go in that Monday,
I got a much better idea.
and I want to walk in and see Logan's face. All sad.
You know what?
All not ready to see what's coming because I'm going
Hey.
to give him months of hell.
Man,
I'm going
might-
to pick the Lions
might
to
come
win.
back
I have a
Super
better
Bowl
idea.
party.
I actually have a better idea for your prediction. If that does happen, if the Browns and Lions actually make the Super Bowl, much better prediction. What happens?
Tie.
The world ends. They won't allow the game to happen. They'll actually have to cancel the Super Bowl for the first time in
Yeah,
history.
I'm sorry. You guys have to both be bad.
They're
Like,
gonna make they're gonna make the two biggest markets go head to head. So we'll pick the Dallas Cowboys against I don't know, the New York Jets.
Yeah.
Probably,
That's
yeah.
the most toxic Super Bowl I could
Yeah.
think of.
That is
Aaron Rodgers against Dak Prescott.
Well,
Think of
obviously
the
the Jets
fan
would win at
bases.
that
Fan
point.
base.
You have the. You
Where's
have,
isn't it in New Orleans next year?
Yes.
New Orleans would burn.
you have
It is in New
the
Orleans.
most basic fan base who likes also the Yankees and Dodgers and
Lakers.
or Celtics versus the fan base of they're always wrong. The Jets fans are always wrong.
And the Jets always suck.
Now, it's okay because what you predicted will never happen.
Nope.
That's on public record. He said Browns-Lions Super Bowl preseason prediction. I'm not saying he's going to predict that, but he said Browns-Lions in the Super Bowl. I want you guys to understand.
Battle of 0-16.
He fully means that too.
Yep.
He fully means
Yeah,
Browns
and I
Lions
meant
Super Bowl.
Lions 20-0 last year.
How did no one predict the Baltimore Ravens, by the way?
Because the Ravens choke.
I feel like we got to put more respect on Baltimore's name. They finally
When
got
they
to the
finally
AFC
beat,
championship.
when they finally win the AFC Championship or finally make it to the Super Bowl again, then with Lamar, then we'll pick him. But Lamar's a choker. He's won 2 playoff games.
I think right now
he's got the same amount of MVPs as playoff wins.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're
like
they're in the boat where the
Which is
Celtics were
funny.
at. The Celtics would always
Yep.
win in the regular season, get kind of far in the postseason, but can never get over the hump.
Can we
Right
just-
now, the
you say
Ravens
the same
are-
thing. The NFC. None of us said San Francisco.
None of us did say San Francisco.
None of us said the Niners.
I mean, to be fair, Christian McCaffrey's the cover of the game for a reason.
Uh-oh.
And,
Yes.
Crap! I have the number 1 pick in one of my fantasy leagues. I can't take Christian McCaffrey now.
Nope.
So he might break
all
the
right,
bank curse.
Madden
Also, Brock
curses
Purdy
you.
lost his first Super Bowl as well.
Very true.
He's,
So
he's
Jared
a
Goff.
younger version of Jimmy G. So
That's why you got to predict 2 quarterbacks that are in their first Super Bowl.
Mhm.
Just saying. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. That's going to wrap up
Jags Cowboys part
this
2.
episode, episode 107 of the Ball and Beats podcast. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that push notification bell to stay up to date on all new videos. We will be back next week with even more talk, maybe some Olympic talk as well, as that's coming up. Signing off. We'll catch y'all next week. Take care. Peace, everybody.